Hey guys, I had a request from a teacher to ask how do we reach out to students if a lot of them do not have access to the internet at home, even very limited data. Now, with that said, many students don't have data at home, Wi-Fi at home, but many of them do have a cell phone or a parent with a cell phone. So I want to kind of introduce you to another program and application that I use. It is for the iPad. There's an app for it for the iPad as well as iPhone as well as Android. Okay, it's called Remind or Remind.com. It is free for teachers. There are some limitations, but I very highly doubt any of you will ever reach those limitations. Okay, I think you're limited to 10 classes of 150 students per class. So that's 1,500 students. So I don't think any of us will ever have that issue. I want to go through this. I'm not going to go through the process of creating your own account. Okay, I'm going to let you go through that all on your own. It's a very simple process, but it's remind.com. Okay, and you'll just go in the upper right hand corner and just choose login. It's very simple. Now I already have an account, so I'm going to go ahead and show you from that viewpoint of my account. Okay, now creating a class is very simple. On the left hand navigation bar we have create class. Okay, click on that. Give it a name. This is something that your kids need to see only, that they'll recognize that they're in the right class. Like, so Mrs. T's class, or, Mrs. Swafford or Mr. Swafford. Okay, I have different classes. I use this for my BPA, I use this for my academic team. So that's how they recognize that they're in the right class. So we can just put Swafford's class. Actually, I think I call this in Teach from Home. Now, what is important is the class code. You can try to be creative with this if you want to. I have, the nerds for the academic team. I have various things that are funny for them and easy to remember. You can try to create it. It does put you a limit on your code count. So if I start typing in Swafford, yeah, immediately it popped up red and said that's already chosen. But it gives me some options. Okay, it's going to not leave you high and dry. It gives you some options if you are unsuccessful in creating a unique class code. Okay, down here we have a checkbox that I will only message people 13 or older. So in the elementary school section, it will ask them to submit their parents' email for some verification purposes. Okay, so that's the setting. That's up to you and your purposes and what you're going to do with that. All right, so I've already created a class, and here it is. It's Teach from Home. Okay, I'm going to go through some of the settings here. So here's my Teach from Home. That's the class name. And the class code was Swafford 20. So you can create a very unique class code. It's very important to make sure that you're in the right school group. Now, I belong to 2 different school groups for various reasons, but right now we're in Idlewild High School. That's a school group. Class settings. This class will appear in class search and on your profile. So a kid could search for your class. If you want that, you can turn that off. Okay, only people who you add or approve. So you might want to tick that box to make sure that only they're approved. Then down here, this is where it's helpful for you as a teacher, especially if they don't have data. It says participant messaging on. All participants in the class can message each other. It means it's like a group chat. That may not be great unless you're wanting to create that dialogue in your classroom of some sort of open conversation of viewpoints. Role-based, students can only message students and parents can only message parents, or just off. Participants can only message class owners and can't see others. And that's usually where I want it to be. I want to be able to talk to them, and I want them to be able to talk to me, and I don't want to have this cross communication, okay? So that's where I would leave that. That's my choice. Okay, so that's fine. We can talk about messaging for a second. It's very simple. I want to move. Don't be distracted. I'm going to move this over for just a smidge. And I apologize. The bottom of my window is slightly cut off, but you'll see that you have a little camera icon and you have a paperclip icon. Okay, so you can send a message from here. I'm going to click on it. I can choose what to teach. Now, here's where it's very fun. If they have limited data, we all know that cell phones use less data than a laptop. So you can still, and I've already synced this to my Google Drive, I can still go into my Drive. It takes 1 second. maybe a little longer. There it is. And there's that stay-at-home quiz that we just created. Okay, so there they are. And I can actually add that. There's a link. See, it links it to the class. I can click the link and it'll send it to them. And I'll talk about how everything gets to them back and forth. And they can send that to each other. I want to go ahead and cancel that. I don't want to use it. Let's just start that. Okay. And so you'll see over here, I was able to send them my class, this Google Doc, the link to the doc. I was able to send them a picture. So if they're having really big data issues, you can take a picture of your assignment with your phone and send that to them, and they can respond it in whatever way that y'all think will work most beneficially. The one thing I want to talk about is how do you add students? Well, here's my class, Teach from Home. I want to go to Add People. So don't let this screen scare you. This screen is nothing. Let's look to the left. Okay. On the left, I have printable PDFs or in-person instructions or share a link. So we'll kind of look through both those really quickly. Okay. I want to download this PDF. Here it is. And you'll see here that if you have a smartphone, grab the notification. If you don't, here's how you text it. Text 81010 and message at Swafford20. And so that's going to send them a text message that you've been added to this classroom, and it's going to ask for permissions. It's going to ask them to text permissions. Just say yes. It's very simple. And that's how they're added to your classroom. Now, if they have some data or some Wi-Fi, they can download the app, as I mentioned earlier, the Remind app on the Apple Store, the Play Store. You can even access it just from the web browser, remind.com. And they can access it and they can see the same things that you're sending to their cell phone. They can see it on their computer screen. Okay, and when they need to respond, remember that setting. Let's go back. Remember that setting where they're able to communicate with you. Okay, where they're able to communicate with you, and you can communicate back and forth, and there's no crisscross chatter unless you want that. Okay, I do want to show you we didn't look at the other one. We did printable PDF, in-person instructions. It's the same thing, and share a link. So you can put this right here on, for example, Facebook. If you're friends with your students on Facebook, then you can send them this link. Okay, this is just one way to try to get that communication out there for them to communicate with you directly as a teacher. There's lots of other things coming out in the woodworks, a lot of free programs being offered right now to education because they know basically what 46 I think states are now locked down, and we're sharing that stuff. I know that Audubon Public Schools has a technology page now of lots of free resources. I implore you to reach out to that. And like always, guys, thank you for sharing. Thank you for posting. Thank you for commenting. If you have questions, concerns, you don't understand, you need clarification, reach out to me, email me, Facebook me. We'll try to get you some help where you need it. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.